Hello, Flosstube. Elizabeth Martinez. Elizabeth Beth, whatever. Elizabeth is my fancy name. Beth is my regular. um, Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, here with my Flosstube update number 445, I believe. Yes. I have a memory like a goldfish. I just wrote it down a second ago and I already forgot it. Anyway, number 445. I want to apologize for the rather abrupt ending of last week's video. I filmed a little tag like a couple minutes just to say, sorry, here's the end. I mean, this was the end anyway, whatever. But then I decided not to upload it because it took forever for the regular video to upload, and I don't know why. It's just happened. So anyway, I decided not to upload it because it was just too much of a hassle. So anyway, sorry about that. Sort of my screen froze and wouldn't unfreeze. And I have this phenomenon with doing this on my laptop. Just every once in a while it glitches like that. It freezes and then unfreezes and continues. And this time at the end of last week's video, it just froze and then would not unfreeze. And so I just ended up just ending it because I was essentially at the end anyway. I was just blabbering on it at the end. So anyway, hopefully this will go better than last time. Excuse me. So last week was the ending of July, and I had a few things to go. I hadn't done my new starts yet, and I had a couple more days left on my second WIPGO project, Dust of Snow. And so I'm going to go ahead and start there because I finished off July because now it's August. It's August. Today is August 1st. I didn't think I mentioned that. Today is August 1st, 2026. Saturday, August 1st. Anyway, so last week I had a couple more days left of Dust of Snow and then my two new starts. So Dust of Snow by Lindy Stitches. And this is, I did stitch a little bit more on it. So you can tell now I did a lot of the blue all of the blue on this part of the border. There's still white that goes down there, and I just, didn't do any more of the blue here. But then I did do, like this little row of trees is done. And I started to do this row of trees over here and got to, there's a little bit of thread left here. I was working on this yesterday while we were filming our Three Sisters video, just because I needed something I could work on. And so I was, doing a little bit more of this. But so I'm somewhere like in the, not quite finishing one row of green on these trees here. These are the tree trunks like these. So this part from here to here is done. But so so the blue fill in between the white is not done here, and the trees are not done. If I feel like it, maybe I'll do that just just for fun, just because. But otherwise, I think I did a little bit more of the white down here. You can't really see it. There's those little white here, white little dots, and it's gonna look like these over here. It's mostly green, but there's white in there, in between those green branches, and so these are similar. But so anyway, that's Dust of Snow, and that's probably, apart from the thread I have hanging here on the back, that's all that's going to be done on that this time around. So whenever it comes up again in WIPGO or whatever, I'll put more work on it, put more work in it. I don't know. I can't speak English. So anyway, that was the end of my second WIPGO project for July. Let me move this out of the way, over here. So I had my 2 new starts to go for July, and I just did a little bit of each one. So this is Midsummer Moth by Lindy Stitches. This was the exclusive design she did for last year's Midsummer Stitch Retreat. And put this over here. It's all charted in DMC, I believe. Yeah, it's all DMC. So this was the purple black thread fabric that I did, and so this is just my corner, because I started in the corner, marked my corner. So I did this little flower thing, and this there you can see it a little better. This flower here. Apart from there's like this orange color in the center. And then there's a little bit of back stitching up here, but otherwise that flower is complete. And then I was hoping I could get to some of the beginning of the moth over here, but the month ended. But so yeah, and this was actually, it was hard because I was kind of tired, and it was hard because it's dark fabric and it's on linen, and it's a little bit, you know, it was a little bit distorted from just having been dyed, I think, and whatever else, so it was hard to see, but I got that flower done there. So, and I just had, you know, basically I just did one day on it to satisfy my new start goal, whatever, because it didn't have a, you know, I didn't have a day's goal on it. And then also I stitched, and this has some thread hanging on it too. My other new start was the butterfly flower, a little kit that I got at Hobby Lobby, the Bucilla kit. I don't think these Bucilla kits have a specific designer. I don't know, maybe it's in the other paperwork that came with it. But yeah, so there's that. And I stitched a little bit of the butterflies. Let me put this behind it so the light doesn't shine through it. There. This is the butterfly's body, and this is the beginning of one of the wings. One thing I didn't think about, this is that green, light green fabric that color that I dyed the Ada that it came with. These threads, they're essentially like DMC threads, but they're not DMC, I don't think. I don't know if it's this is made in China, I think. Yeah. So I don't know what kind of thread this is, but it's a little fuzzier than DMC. I don't know. But like I said, what I'm starting to say is what I did not count on is that all of this line here, it's all like, I guess you would call them quarter stitches. You know, they go from the corner to the middle of the square. And so you have to say, you know, like this one starts on the bottom and goes this way, this one starts on the top and goes that way, and, you know, to make a diagonal line. And this, going up here, you can kind of see it, you know, going up here, these are all diagonal stitches. And because this is stitched on Ada, you know, you've got to pierce each of the Ada squares. If it was on linen, like that one, you know, then the holes are already there. You know, you have the 9 holes in the square, and it's very easy to get in the middle of those to do quarter stitches. But yeah, so it was slow going, and it wasn't as pleasant as I hoped. And then I did kind of like start on doing because I went up this way. And so then I decided I was just going to go back and work on the bug's body just to give it, because this is easy. It's just regular squares, you know. And I just didn't get to doing any more of that. I don't know, I might do more just to get it to an end point. But it's already August, so maybe I won't. But since today is August 1st, I started on my cross-stitch camp piece. And when I was trying to get it prepared, make sure I had all the threads, make sure everything, was ready to start it on the 1st, I was thinking, I guess I need to choose the fabric for. I guess I thought I had chosen a fabric, but I couldn't remember. I didn't have the fabric stuck in the envelope with the pattern, or I didn't have it set aside. And I'm like, where did I not choose a fabric for it? After all, And then I guess last night when I was, I was like, I guess I have to choose a fabric. And I was looking through the fabrics that I had. I'm like, what fabric did I choose for? Because my sister said, I thought you chose a fabric for it. I'm like, did I? And what it was is I decided, because I had chosen a fabric for Glory in the Wind, but then I was looking for a fabric for one of my other patriotic stitches. So I have Worthy Patriot, I have Long May She Wave, which is Worthy Patriot is Plum Street Samplers. Long May She Wave is Barbara Anna Designs. And then I had one by Stitching with the Housewives called Uncle Sam and Liberty. And then I had one called Stand Firm, which is an Abraham Lincoln tribute. And then the ones I was using for Cross Stitch Camp are Freedom Flock. I showed that last time. I finished that one. Freedom Flock by Plum Street Samplers and Glory in the Wind. And so Freedom Flock was my cross-stitch camp piece for July, and Glory in the Wind is my August piece. For what did I do for June? The owls, autumn owls, was something from a magazine. Yeah. So I wanted to start in July. I wanted to start on my other patriotic things because I had started Worthy Patriot and I had started Long May She Wave. But I wanted to get the Stand Firm and Sam and Liberty, get them started at least. And so I was looking for a piece of fabric for Stand Firm and didn't quite have, the ones that I have from the Bestitch Me grab bag thing are, like I said, they're cuts from other cuts of fabric. So most of them are about 8 or 9 inches wide, and then anywhere from 12 to 16 inches long, and so none of them was quite wide enough. The 9 inches, I needed 10 or something like that, or whatever. Or they were the wrong color. So I was looking at this fabric that I had for Glory in the Wind, and I decided that I could fit both Stand Firm and Glory in the Wind on this piece of fabric because it's 18 by 27, right? This, and I think it's 32 count, if I remember correctly. I have it on here somewhere, I thought. Yeah. 32 count Belfast linen. Yeah, it's natural. I got this at Hobby Lobby. So, so my Abraham Lincoln start is down here, and it goes the other way. Yeah, it goes like this. It's a little axe in the corner, and then just a little a design thing. You get this up here. Yeah, this little white design thing, and then this axe, and so the design goes this way, and it's not very big, but and so I thought, well, Glory in the Wind will fit over here. So so when I started it last night at just after midnight, so I could get some of it done. I'm not going to take this out of the hoop right now because I'm actively working on it right now. But it says established 1776 across the top. Here it is, sorry. This is by Robin Pickens Designs, and I've never done a Robin Pickens piece before. So the prompt, I'm talking all in circles and out of order. The prompt for Cross Stitch Camp for August was something new to you. That's what she usually puts as the prompt for August. So it's hard because I've stitched with silk, I've stitched with fancy floss and DMC. So and I've also stitched with like Threadworks threads, color and cotton, weeks dye, all the fancy flosses, Cottage Garden threads. So maybe a particular brand of silk is something I haven't done yet, like Belsois or whatever, But anyway, so if August is always something new to you, it's like how many new designers have, excuse me, because I want to find maybe a new designer, but it has to be a design I want to stitch. So, it's still, it's getting harder and harder to find something I haven't done before. But Robin Pickens is a new to me designer. And I just love this Glory in the Wind pattern. I think it came out at Market. And it was just all the rage. And I thought, oh, I want it. But, I kind of didn't want to spend the money, and all that. I wanted to be frugal. But then the more I looked at it, the more I decided I need to buy this. And so I got it. And then so when came time to, I was putting off starting stuff choosing stuff for Cross Stitch Camp because I didn't know what the themes were going to be, what the theme was going to be. I figured it would be something patriotic because of the semi-quincentennial, but I didn't know how she was going to do it for the 3 months of camp. What the prompts exactly were going to be. So I didn't want to start anything, of course, before camp, because you have to have something starts on the 1st of June, the 1st of July, the 1st of August. But I had all these patriotic patterns, like Salmon Liberty would have been one that I think probably would have fit for Cross Stitch Camp in terms of length and size. And the Stand Firm, the Abraham Lincoln chart probably would have worked also. It's a little bit bigger, a little bit more involved, but it's still, it's not too bad. This is a little on the heavy side. It's a lot of stitching. It's 128 by 101. But as you can see, a lot of it is sort of negative space. If you're counting, from here to here, there's a lot of empty space in there. From here to here, it's a little more dense. It's a little more stitching. This big block here, and the birds, and then there's these ribbons of color here. But, but all of the 128 stitches this way, it's broken up a lot. So, so you're not stitching every stitch of those 128 stitches, right? Anyway, so Glory in the Wind, this is the one I chose for August. And it's charted all in Weeks Dye Works flosses. Here, I got them all crammed in there. And this is the one that I accidentally bought 2 sets of Weeks Dye Works threads for not all of the ones in here, but all, because I had some of them, but like White Lightning and Liberty and Blue Coat Blue, and I bought like four or 5 threads. I bought them, I think, when I bought the pattern at the attic, and then I misplaced them. I didn't know I had them. I had stuck them somewhere else, and I went ahead and ordered them, because I thought, oh, I guess I need these threads. Because I needed some other threads for something else, and so I just, I'll get these for Glory in the Wind, and turns out I already had them. So anyway, so now I have them twice. But anyway, so I just got a little bit of a start on the beginning of it. I started in this corner here. This is my little thread that marks the corner there. But so I did this little white thing, and then I started on the word established. Established. I started the E there, but anyway. So I'm gonna do it on this 32 count Belfast linen. And I think the whites, looks like the white will show up very nicely. And that was the one thing I was concerned about with this, choosing a fabric for it. But so, and maybe I'll get in a little bit more of the Abraham Lincoln piece while I'm at it. But the other thing, my other thing I'm going to start on for WIPGO, I'm going to go ahead and start on, excuse me, sorry, I'm making a mess here. Frostbite is one of my WIPGO charts, and I think I'm going to go ahead and start with that. And that was, I talked about this last time, the little vicious little snowman. He looks vicious, but he's not. He just has bitey teeth. Yeah. So, like I said, last week I said I stitched most of the snowman's body, and yeah, and I did go ahead and measure this fabric because I thought that's really tiny, and I think I have like a 1 inch border, or barely an inch, maybe not quite an inch border on this, so I don't know exactly how I'm going to finish it, but because there's like I think it's 5 stitches or something like that above the hat. No, maybe just two or three above this hat, so it's going to go like up to about here, you know. And and then on the bottom, the same thing. There's only going to be about, you know, a couple of stitches down here left over. So we'll squeeze it in there. But anyway, so part of doing this, you know, there's a lot of just white snow and a little bit of, there's kind of a little bit of like gray or something on the very bottom, being the bottom edge of this design. There's like a little grayish line there on the bottom, a little bit like kind of like this, you know, but down along the bottom. But so this is just basically a white, kind of like the color here. It's not quite white. It's 712, which is a very light. It's a kind of a white. I don't know, a bluish white color. I don't know. But anyway, that 712 is the color that's used for the body of the snowman, I believe. Yeah, and it's also used for the white part of this snow. But these branches going up here are a different color, and the chart was it was charted in Cecelia, which is, I don't know, some floss I've ever used before, but this is by Amanda May MacNaughton of Ardith Designs. So I don't know the Cecelia floss. I'm not familiar with that, but there was a DMC conversion in this chart. And so some of the conversion numbers are like blends or whatever. Like you can use for the dark part of this design here, you can use I think it's, yeah, 37.99, which is a DMC almost black color, or you can use a blend of like 3740 and 413 or something like that. I'm using the 37.99, and then there's another blend, just a few stitches here and there of these two other colors. But so these, what I started to say was these branches and these little white things in the design. I think some of them are, I want to say they're supposed to be bats, but they look like bats to me. But they're done with a combination of B5200 and a 12. The conversion is slightly different. It calls for something else, but that's what I'm doing. B5200 and a 12 blended together. So around here, the only place that carries a 12 in the store is Michael's, and I have some of this white étoile. I guess it's white. Yeah, somewhere on a bobbin somewhere but it's in another project. I think it's just put away somewhere. I think it might be in storage. I don't remember what project offhand it was in, but I couldn't lay my hands on it. I have several étoile colors, but not this white wasn't in there. So I thought, okay, we'll go to Michael's. And it just so happened that Eve had a doctor's appointment somewhere up in town in Phoenix area. And so we were up there anyway, so we thought, okay, we'll stop at Michael's, because I know Michael's carries a 12. Hobby Lobby does not, right? Hobby Lobby has a pretty good regular DMC selection, but they do not carry a 12. And Michael's seems to carry several DMC things, including the 12. So we made a stop there. So I got the 12, and then I needed some other DMC colors for all my other cross stitch projects. One color of which was ecru. Well, one thing that that Michael started doing was carrying a DMC line of I forget what it's called. It's called something like matte cotton threads or something like that. But they're thicker, and you can like untwist them if you want to, I guess. But it looks like they're not meant to be untwisted. But they're kind of thick, and it's a longer skein. It's like I don't have it here because I returned it. But it's like 10 meters instead of this is a skein of 310, right? This is a regular 310 black DMC. And so up here it says 8 millimeters, and I think the other one was 10. And this also says moulin, I guess that's how you say it. Special, whatever, it's French, I don't know. But so there's this, but the ecru skein that I picked up, I didn't look, I just saw ecru, and I grabbed it, and then as I looked at it later, I thought, oh, it's kind of different. It's thicker, it's fatter, the label is different. It was green label in here instead of this black and gold. It was green and black, I think. Green and black and white, I don't know what. But so when I looked at it, I realized, okay, it's not regular ecru. So we went back to Michael's yesterday because we were in town to film our Three Sisters video, and so we stopped at Michael's on the way back, and I returned that thread. And so while I was returning it, I went to return it, but I went back there and looked, and they have. When Eve and I went to buy the threads, and I went to buy the ecru, the bins, the DMC bins seemed like they were all out of order, and I think part of it was that bin, that set of bins for the matte thread, whatever it was. Because at first I thought it was just the ecru that was wrong, that maybe they ordered the wrong thing or something like that, and that's why it was there. But then the more I looked at the shelves again the second time when we went back, I realized that because when I looked at them at first I thought, well, they're all out of order. Like some of the numbers here they're not in consecutive order or whatever. So I don't know, because I didn't look hard the second time. But the bins may have been in order over here, but because of those new threads that seemed out of order, because the numbers were, because it's kind of like a typewriter, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 is over here, and. But if you go to the end, they started 2 again or something like that because of those matte threads. So they seemed all out of order. But anyway, so there was a bin there for ecru, but it was empty. So the regular embroidery floss that you use for cross stitch, it had a bin for ecru, but it wasn't there. And so anyway. So they had the set of threads there was various colors, all in that thicker, different finish of threads. So, yeah. So Michaels, carries a lot of DMC stuff. They carry a little bit of DMC fabric, a lot of the DMC, like the étoile. And now these new threads, whatever they're for, and the regular DMC threads, and some other DMC, like those boxed sets of threads and things like that, that Hobby Lobby doesn't have anymore. Hobby Lobby has a good selection of regular floss, the regular cross-stitching floss, and they have a few, 2 or 3 kinds of pearl cotton. They don't have a whole line of pearl cotton, but they have a few. And they have a few metallics or whatever, a few specialty threads, a little bit of them. But they don't have, a wide selection of other stuff. And the fabrics that they have a handful of fabrics, mostly in their house brand, Artiste brand. But they don't have, they don't have the fabrics that they used to have, which were very lovely, they had the 32 count Murano Carré. They don't have those anymore. They had 25 count Lugana, and I think they might carry this sort of ivory colored, whatever, off-white color, pearl. I think it's called pearl, is the one color that they carry. They don't carry any other colors for that. And they have several Ada colors there, and they have a couple of even weave, 28 count even weave fabrics, like a white and an ivory, and they have a few larger pieces of Ada there. But anyway, so between the two of them, I can kind of find like regular DMC threads and some fabric and stuff like that, but like for fancy floss, of course, I go to the attic, whatever. Anyway, so I had a little bit of a fail with finding the ecru thread, and so at some point I was getting it for one of my new starts for August is Nativity Scene by Tiny Modernist. And I was trying to make sure I had all the threads for all these projects, and ecru was the one that it's, I have it somewhere, I don't know where, but I couldn't put my hands on it, so I thought I would just get, another skein of ecru, and it wouldn't hurt. And they didn't have it at Michael's, and so if I get to the point where I need it, because I might not need it, because I don't know how much of that new start I'm going to do. So if I need it, Hobby Lobby is handy, and and they're supposed to, down here in Santan, they're supposedly building a new Michael's. I don't know when it's going to open, but so when they get that done, it shouldn't be too far to go to see what they have there. And then the Hobby Lobby that is in this neck of the woods is not too far. So if I decide I needed the ecru thread, I can go get it. But anyway, so I'm going to do Frostbite. Is going to be my first WIPGO project for this month, and I'm going to plug away at that Glory in the Wind for cross-stitch can. So then I talked about last week. I talked briefly about the fabric that I bought at Midsummer Stitch. I talked about the pattern I bought. The Moon is a Boat of Magic, I think it's called. Boat of Magic, I think is the actual title of it, by Blue Flower. Anyway, in addition to that pattern, I bought the exclusive fabric designed by B Stitch Me for the Midsummer stitch. I was gonna say I had the fabric in this plastic bag, and actually when I was cutting the package open, I cut the plastic. You know, the shipment came in this little, you know, bag from Lindy Stitches, and when I was, you know, cutting the top of the package open, I actually cut the fabric thing. So I'm gonna find another thing for the fabric. But so in addition to the fabric, I got these little coffee flavored candies. It came in my package. There's like 3 of them, which I don't intend to share. I intend to eat them all by myself. But I got 3 little candies, and it's coffee flavored candy. I love it. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I like coffee flavoring. You know, coffee flavored ice cream. Jamocha almond fudge at Baskin Robbins is one of my favorites. My ideal ice cream would be a 2-scoop cone or dish or whatever at Baskin Robbins. 1 scoop of Jamocha almond fudge and 1 scoop of, I think it's Bing cherry or black cherry is the you know, the flavor. It's a dark cherry with, you know, fruit in cherry ice cream. Those are 2 of my favorite flavors in the whole world: cherry and Jamocha almond fudge coffee chocolate ice cream. But at the grocery store, the little pints of Baskin Robbins ice cream were on sale last week, week before last, whatever. And yeah, so I got a pint of. We went twice, you know, for various reasons. But so each time I got this little pint of Jamocha almond fudge ice cream, and it is to die for. It's my favorite flavor in the whole wide world, I think. Anyway, along with the fabric, I also got this little freebie pattern from Plum Street called Huzzah. So this, she said, I think she said this was it says here, where did I read that? Oh, this complimentary chart is a variation of another free chart I designed back in 2018. Huzzah is a 16th century word that today would be expressed as hurrah or hooray. And so she says, may your celebrations this year be filled with many exultations. So she redid this in 2026 for the semi-bicentennial. And yeah, so there's a fuller picture of it. So there's Uncle Sam standing on top of this birthday cake with a little flag, and it says, huzzah. So this is, the stitch count is 38 by 71. So yeah, I would very much like to stitch that as well. I think her original, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that was included in the package. Yeah, little free chart. So this is the fabric. This is Moonlit Garden by B Stitch Me, and I got 32 count Lugana. And it is this beautiful, beautiful color. It does look like moonlight, like a starry sky at night. So it is beautiful. I usually don't buy fabric just because it's an expensive, you know, it's a place I don't really need to buy fabric. You know, I will, you know, I can get inexpensive fabric at Hobby Lobby or wherever and just dye it myself, and I have no qualms about that. but it's lovely to get fabric from a fabric dyer because, of course, they do more variations, more colors, more, more. They have more skill with this than I do. Um, so sometimes I can come up with a really pretty, dye job of fabric, but they do a great job. So earlier this year, when was it that I bought the fabric that I used for Worthy Patriot? It was another one of these exclusive fabrics for one of Lindy stitches. It might have been Spring Mingle. No, maybe it was Spring Mingle. Yeah, the piece of fabric I bought at Spring Mingle. Because I don't think I bought it at the Jingle Ball. I think it was Spring Mingle. Anyway, it's upside down. Bestitch Me, Moonlit Garden. Yeah. So this was an exclusive for the, or a special dye for the job for the Midsummer stitch. So I bought that, and it came last week. So anyway, so I think that's all I have to talk about this week. I'm just getting started on Glory in the Wind, and I will probably do Frostbite will be my other project. And at some point, I think I'm going to try to do that Huzzah. If I can, just find a little scrap of that, some of those Bestitch Me scraps in the grab bag. There's got to be something in there that'll work for that, for Huzzah. Anyway, so that is where I am on August 1st. And yeah, I believe next week there should be, let me look at my calendar real quick, should not be a problem. Sorry. Yeah, for the next few Saturdays, it doesn't look like there's anything unusual going on. At the end of the month, I'm going to be house sitting for my sister, but so at the end of the month, I may be doing my update from my sister's house, but otherwise, looks like every Saturday this month, I'm here, except for that last one. Anyway, so I will see you next week. And hopefully I will have made some progress on at least the Glory in the Wind and Frostbite, if nothing else. And so I will see you then. Until then, thanks for watching. Thanks again. And again, welcome to any new viewers. If you like what you've seen, if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. And if you click the little bell, you'll get a notification every time I do an update, which is typically every Saturday at some point. Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, sometime on Saturday. And for those of you who are regular subscribers, thanks for subscribing and welcome back. And tell your friends. I'm not really concerned with chasing after followers. I think I have like maybe 300-400. I don't know, a few hundred. But yeah. Hey, it's always nice. The more the merrier. Anyway, so I will see you next week, and until then, bye. Thanks for watching.